Welcome YouTubers to another edition of Lightest and Best, where we look at the lightest and best offerings of a variety of knife manufacturers. And today we're going to look at the company of Brous Blades by Jason Brous and look at his new offering, which is the Razorback. What a beautiful knife. Let's start with the specifications. The blade length is 3 inches. The handle length is 4 1/8 inch. Which gives a total knife length of 7 1/8 inch. The total weight of the knife is 2.3 ounces, and I have a few other knives for comparison here. We have the Hender XM18 3-inch blade. It's very similar in size. We have the Spyderco Delica. I don't know, they're very similar also. We have a Benchmade Mini Griptilian, which is shorter, and then we have a Chris Reeves Small Sabenza, and the Small Sabenza is a little bit shorter also. So there are some size comparisons. The blade on the Razorback is made of D2 steel, which is a common steel that Jason likes to use on his mid-techs and productions. This is a limited production run. As you can tell on the spine, this is number 156 of the limited run of 250. The blade is a spear point blade with a hollow grind that comes to a needle-like point that is sharp as can be. The show side has the Brous Blades maker's mark, and as I'd mentioned on the spine, it has the serial number and the number of the total lot size, 250. The jimping on the back of the blade has good traction, and the sharpness, unfortunately, is poor. The sharpening choil does not extend to the plunge line, and so you have a thickening of the blade lower down. The sharpening choil in an ideal world should extend all the way to the plunge line so you don't have this thickening of the blade. And it's a courtesy to the end user because the makers have belt sanders, but the end user, we have edge pros and sharp makers and things that can't really reach that. As I had mentioned, the knife came to me a little bit dull, and I've got just a piece of paper here. I'm going to show you how it cuts. It really doesn't even cut, it just tears the paper. That's pitiful. If you pay $250 for a knife, please, Jason Brous, get your quality control together and make sure the knives don't escape from your factory to the retail market before you sharpen them appropriately. The method of deployment on the knife is one of the bright sides. It's a flipper deployment, and the flipper tab is anterior to the pivot as it should be. And this gives one of the best deployment angles of any knife that I have. As you can see, it's a full, I'm going to say 80-degree deployment angle. What that means is that whenever you press down on this flipper, the knife blade just flies out. It flips like a maniac. The handle is a tumbled titanium scale, which are extensively skeletonized on the inside to lighten the knife. The titanium scales have this wonderful arcing line, and on the clip side you can see the arcing line is integrated into the pocket clip as well. It's a wonderful artistic effort. The lock bar has a removable lock bar insert that's very well done. As you can tell, the lockup is very early at about 10%, but it's secure with no blade play. The relief cut in the lock bar is external and looks appropriate. The pocket clip, as I've talked about before, is a 3D machined steel clip attached from the inside with blind screws. The sweeping line from the handle continues on to the pocket clip seamlessly. It's a beautiful design element. The orientation of the pocket clip is right hand carry only, tip up only. The ergonomics of the knife are fine. The knife feels good in your hand. So what are my impressions of the Brous Blades Razorback? I really like it overall. There are opportunities for improvement. First of all, Jason Brous needs to get a better control of the quality control within his factory. The primary function of a knife is to cut, and to send out knives that are dull is like trying to sell a Steinway piano that's out of tune. Sharpen your knives, guys. Sharpen them well. Also, it would be nice if he would extend the sharpening choil to the plunge grind so that there isn't this thick part of the knife. And he's done it well before. If you can look at the insight, the plunge grind goes nicely all the way to the blade for a consistent blade. What I like about the blade is that the flipper design is excellent, like most all Brous blade knives are. It flips great because the flipper tab is placed well ahead of the pivot. It gives you 80 degrees deployment, and it flips like a maniac. If you're a guy that likes a fidget toy, likes to sit at his desk and flip his knife, this is the knife for you. The recurved spear point blade is absolutely gorgeous. It's almost a perfect EDC. It's light, it has a great pocket clip, it deploys well, and is beautiful. So overall, I recommend the Brous Blades Razorback. Hope you've enjoyed the video.